Anjali Tiwari, and I'll be presenting my paper on the impact of customer reviews on the sale of consumer durables for GRET 6336 course. I'll be starting with a brief introduction. In the present times, more and more customers are gravitating towards customer reviews before making a purchase decision. These customer reviews or customer generated content has become an important part of the decision making process. According to a recent survey done, 88% of the customers nowadays read reviews before making a purchase decision, and 39% of the customers regularly read reviews. 63% of the customers reported that they will likely buy from a website that provides customer reviews. It was also observed that customer reviews uplifted sales up to 18%. In fact, bad reviews also proved to be valuable, as it was seen that they improved the conversion rate by 67%. This was attributed to the fact that the customers, those who are reading bad reviews, are actually paying more attention because they are seriously planning to buy a product. So we can say that a lot of customers are nowadays are paying attention to these reviews or the user generated content, as we can call it. And even though a lot of research has been done on these topics, but there is still a lot of scope for understanding how these reviews work, and we can come up with ways to utilize them and come up with better understanding, and this can lead to a better advertising and sales promotions and predictions for the future. So, our research objective for this paper is to study the impact of customer reviews on the sales of consumer durables. And for this case, I'll be paying more attention towards television. So, mm, and, television is also is one of the consumer durable product. These are also called as high risk or high involvement products because they require a considerable amount of money, and they remain with the customer for a longer duration of time, like more than 3 years. So, according to a recent survey, it was determined that 88% of the customers trust online reviews as much as personal recommendation, and 85% of the customers read up to 10 reviews before making a purchase decision. So, basing on that, my hypotheses are that positive online reviews will lead to increase in the sales of consumer durables, and negative online reviews lead to decrease in the sales of consumer durables. My proposed research methodology for this paper is to find a relationship between the attributes of consumer reviews and their impact on the consumer durable. So instead of finding an exact relationship between the attributes and the sales, this paper will focus on probabilistic relationship between them. And the idea is to use an Bayesian network to analyze the causal relationship. The Bayesian graph that we have constructed is based on the studies done in the past, and where the review uh, attributes are divided into two categories, and that is on the content of the review and the source of the review. So, this is a direct acrylic graph of Bayesian network that we are using for our study. So here what we have done is we have divided a review into two categories, that is the review quality and the source quality. In the review quality, we have taken six different attributes, and in the source quality, we are taking four different attributes. For the review quality, what we think are important is the length of the review, how long a review is, the popularity, that is how many times that review has been seen by other customers, the helpfulness of the review, whether the review is positive or negative, The relevance of the review, that is, if the review is actually talking about the technical specifications of the product, or is it just, or the review just talks about how the customer is feeling after having the product. So, um, that is, we'll be covering in the relevance. And then the time density. Time density we define as during the research period, and which could be anywhere around 2 to 3 months, whether the reviews that we are collecting, there is a constant inflow of that, or we have some, or as and when there is a new promotion or a new version of a television is coming, then the reviews might go up and then they may go down. So the more constant the reviews we get, the better for our study. Second, uh, uh, second attributes for the quality of the source, that is the reviewer himself. We have taken the geographical information of the author, like where the author is based, then the credibility of the reviewer, like how many people actually think that he's a good reviewer, number of reviews. This will also help us in showing how experienced our reviewer is, and the social media presence, like in how many social networking platforms that person is present, and how many followers he has on an Instagram or a YouTube or a Facebook channel. So, our methodology is not limited to these factors. Rather, the object is to find and build a modular model which can be modified as more attributes can be discovered. And in this research, we are going to focus on the above factors, the ones shown in the graph, and we'll build a mathematical network using Bayesian statistics. So the initial model can be expanded further, as in when during a course of research we get new attributes, and that can be used to optimize this Bayesian model structure. So for the first method, or the first step for this methodology would be to collect the data, and that we can either do manually by doing a customer survey on the web, or we can use another technique called as web scraping. And the second step would be to quantify these attributes and normalize them between -1 and +1, and this way we'll be able to remove any bias. And the same procedure can be done for the sales data. So after analyzing this data, we'll be able to understand what is the relationship between attributes and the sales data, and then the probabilities can be calculated. We can also do a sensitivity analysis on the few of the attributes during the course of a study, and we can either drop those attributes, and we can pick up another attributes if we think that those are more important. So this is the methodology that I have proposed for collecting the data and finding a relationship between what the reviewers are saying and how it impacts our sales. Now, go research. We hope that this research methodology and this paper will help in finding what the relationship is between the customer reviews and how it impacts the sales. This model can also be used to study in the future to predict the sales on a newer television after gathering what is the chatter around the internet. Coming on to, there are a number of research limitations. Currently, the number of attributes are limited, but during the research, more hypotheses and attributes can be added, which may help in a better model understanding. And even though the current research helps in understanding the review impact, but it does not reveal the complete structure of the review impact. So, this research in its current form only helps in understanding the impact of the review. Even though this is extremely important, it is not sufficient for the product sales or product improvement. So, it should be recognized that the impact of review on sales is a subjective analysis, and it's hard to model using mathematical tools. So, this is the reason why this research attempts on the probabilistic approach rather than exact relationship between the data. Coming to our conclusion, we say that we expect our methodology will prove our hypothesis using Bayesian model, and will also provide probabilistic framework, and hope we'll be able to prove our hypothesis using this methodology, whether good reviews are actually improving the sales of the consumer durables, and negative reviews are declining the sales of consumer durables. And there is also the possibility to create an automated process in the future to collect the data from the web and use that on the target product, which can be anything. So, this is what our conclusion is.